Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you all checked out my first video, and if you haven't, you should definitely go watch it. It is super cute. Brooklyn and I actually surprised Bridger at his apartment. That was during the time that we lived 6 hours apart from each other. And for those of you who don't know, we actually live together now, which has been amazing. Brooklyn and I moved in with Bridger right after Christmas, so it has been a lot of fun. It is so nice that we don't have to travel 6 hours each way just to see each other now. We are very happy about it. I have been spending the last couple months getting adjusted to living in a new place, having a new job, and just getting our house situated. If I could be here all day, I would, because it's just so cozy. To get started with today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the biggest life-changing decision that I've ever made. Not only is it the biggest life-changing decision that I've ever made, but I was 14 years old when I made this decision, and it has shaped me into who I am today. It has also been the greatest gift that I've ever had in my life. So as you guys can see in the caption, I'm going to be sharing with you my teen mom story. It is not the easiest thing to talk about, and you guys might find me getting a little emotional, but it's not because I'm sad, it's only because I'm happy to say that I am where I am today. And I am proud of how far I've come since I've been a mother, and I'm excited to share my story with you. So I dated a boy for a really short period of time during my 7th grade year, and we broke up. We didn't talk for several months. We got back in touch about a year later and started dating again. At that point, we were a little bit more mature, a little older, and ready to actually have a boyfriend and girlfriend. We dated through the summer after my 8th grade year and into my freshman year. A couple of months into my freshman year, we decided that we were going to run away for a couple of days. We threw our phones in the ditch so our parents couldn't get a hold of us, and we left everybody wondering where we were. There were people flying airplanes over the mountains looking for us. They sent search and rescue out for us. There were community members from all over our area searching for us. They couldn't find any clues as to where we could be, and of course we didn't have our phones. After a couple days, we just got bored and decided that we were going to go home, and when we got back, we had so many people who had contacted us and so many people that were at my parents' house. Everybody was there supporting our parents and trying to figure out what they should do next. So that was just a start of our bad decisions together. A couple of months later, during basketball season, my boyfriend had decided that he wanted to try to run away again, and he mentioned it to another one of his friends, who actually ended up telling his mom. So during the first basketball game of the season, I went into the locker room after the game. I found about 100 text messages on my phone. They were all from my boyfriend, and they were saying things like, "We aren't going to be able to be together anymore, you're going to get moved to a new school," just things along the lines of us not being able to be together anymore or see each other ever again. I started ripping off all of my basketball stuff, and I was crying. My teammates couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, and I ran out into the lobby so I could figure out what was going on. Come to find out, my boyfriend's mom had told my mom about him wanting to run away again, and of course I was brought into it because we were together and we had done it just a couple months prior. That night, my mom took my phone and found text messages between my boyfriend and I talking about us wanting to have a baby. Now, like I told you guys, this was the biggest life-changing decision that I have ever made. When I was 14 years old, my boyfriend and I decided that we wanted to have a baby. Just a month after turning 15, I found out that I was pregnant. That was the night that my mom had read the messages between my boyfriend and I about wanting a baby. My parents immediately went to the grocery store and got pregnancy tests. I woke up the next morning and took the pregnancy test as soon as I woke up. The test had shown a very faint positive line just because I was barely pregnant. My mom sent me to spend a week at my aunt's house in Idaho, which was actually a really good break for us because we were not getting along at all. I took another pregnancy test exactly a week later and I was most definitely pregnant. After the week that I spent at my aunt's house, I ended up moving to a different school. My brother attended this school, so it was nice that I would know some of his friends, and we had mutual friends just because we are only a couple years apart. I did meet lots of new people, but it was really hard going into a new school, not knowing a whole lot of people. People did not know for a while that I was pregnant until people from my old school started talking about it. When the word got out, people started making fun of me and things got really challenging. Things were already hard enough not being able to see my boyfriend, and to add other people making fun of me on top of that just made things so much worse. Not to mention pregnancy hormones. So I started my first day of school on Valentine's Day actually, which was very difficult because everybody got to see their significant other and I did not. I adjusted pretty quickly to attending a new school and meeting new people who actually were supportive of me being a teen mom. Everybody, of course, loved to play with my belly and feel my baby kick. Once school got out for the summer, I headed to North Carolina to spend a couple of weeks with my dad like I do every summer. When I got back from North Carolina, I had a doctor's appointment and it was going to be the first time that I got to see my boyfriend in several months. It was my 20-week appointment when I got to find out the gender of my baby. We found out that we were having a girl and that's what I wanted, so I was super excited. I already had a name picked out for a girl and was really nervous that if I had a boy I wouldn't be able to pick out a very good name because boy names are actually really hard to come up with. After the doctor's appointment, when we got outside to our vehicles, my mom and my boyfriend's mom started arguing about how we don't get to see each other and that we need to be spending time together so that our baby can have a bond, and my mom was not for that because she did not trust us or believe that we would be making very good choices together. So of course I started standing up for my boyfriend's mom because she wanted us to be able to spend time together. At the time, my mom didn't say anything to me about me standing up for her, but when we got home that night, shit hit the fan. My mom walked into my room while I was on my phone that my dad had got me that summer, and she took my phone away from me and was reading the text messages, which were not very nice. My mom read a message on my phone that I sent my boyfriend saying how big of a bitch my mom is, and she was already mad about what had happened earlier that day, so it did not make things any better. My mom ended up kicking me out that night and I went to my boyfriend's house. She just didn't know how to handle having a daughter that was pregnant at 15 years old. It was not fair to her that I put her through that. I cannot imagine my daughter being pregnant at 15 or how I would handle that at all. My mom and I did not talk for several months. I was 6 months pregnant when she kicked me out, so by the time we actually talked again, I think it was right before I went into labor. She asked me if I would let her know when I went into labor, and I told her yes, but that she was not allowed to be in the room when I had my daughter. I went into labor on October 19th at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I finally had my daughter on October 20th at 1:13 in the morning. During labor was the first time I had seen my mom since she kicked me out, and it was quite awkward. I did not know what to say to her. I was mad at her. I actually didn't even want her there. The only reason I allowed her to be there was because it was her first grandchild being born. I would have felt terrible if I didn't allow my mom to be there to see Brooklyn right after she was born. After we left the hospital, we went back to my boyfriend's parents' house where we were living, and I continued living there until I was a junior in high school. My boyfriend and I dated until the very end of my junior year. I broke up with him just a couple days before his graduation, which was not a very nice thing to do or a very good time to do it, but I was just so unhappy. We had such an unhealthy relationship. After all of the things we had been through, we just couldn't manage to keep it together. We argued constantly. We didn't enjoy being around each other. We were just so unhappy that I did not want to put my daughter through that. I felt that it was very unhealthy for her. At the time, my boyfriend and I were not able to set those examples for her because we were so unhappy. We ended up getting back together a couple of months into my senior year. We figured that we would try to make it work and see if we would be happy together again. We missed each other, we missed what we had. We wanted to be able to spend every day together again. We thought that maybe the break apart was a good time for us to find ourselves a little, since we were so young when we got together that we kind of lost ourselves through that experience. During my senior year, he had started at a community college where we had lived because he was a year older than me. We didn't really want to move away until maybe after I graduated. During my senior year, I decided that I was going to apply at the same college just so that we would have our family to help us through our first couple of years of college together. And we ended up getting into an apartment at the college that allowed us to be right there on campus. My mom lives just a couple minutes away from the college, so she was able to watch Brooklyn for us while we were at school. My mom and I actually became close again after Brooklyn was born. It did take a little time, but it was definitely worth it. Today we are so close. We tell each other everything. My mom is my go-to. She's my rock. She always has the best advice. Now that I'm an adult, I truly understand where my mom was coming from during my pregnancy and see why she did the things that she did. Especially now that I'm a mother and have somebody to raise and look after, I want nothing but the best for her. I want her to be successful and to have good grades while she's in high school. I want her to be in sports and to have extracurricular activities to stay out of trouble. I want her to be able to spend time with her friends. I want all of those things for her, and I will do anything I can to encourage her to stay out of trouble and share my story with her so she knows what it was like not being able to have all of those things in high school. There is nothing easy about being a teen mom. I still had all of the responsibilities that high schoolers have. I had to study, I had to do my homework, I had projects that I needed to get done. I had book projects that I had to get done, which means I had to read a book. I had to show up on time to school. I had to be to class on time. All of those things that high schoolers do, but I had a baby added on top of that. I had to run her to daycare. I had to care for her at night while I had homework and tests and book projects to do. And on top of all of that, I had a full-time job. It was definitely not easy, but in the end, it was all worth it. All of my hard work and dedication in school, and not only in school, but as a mother. I wanted what was best for my child, and receiving my high school diploma was my first step to being successful. I was not the only teen mom who walked across the stage that day. One of my very best friends also had a baby in high school. She was much older. She was a senior, not a sophomore, when she had hers. She finished out her senior year after having her daughter and got her diploma as well. You know who you are, and I love you so much. It feels so great to close that chapter in your life for everybody, people without kids, people with kids. But when you have overcame so many obstacles throughout your high school career, it is so relieving to finally reach the day that you are done with that you don't have to worry about showing up to high school on time every day and having your homework done on this day and reading a book for your book project and waiting until the last night to read your book, because I know I'm not the only one who did that. Of course, for those of you who have gone to college, you still have to do the same thing, but there's so much less pressure than in high school. Finishing high school was so exciting for me because dropping out was not an option at all. I planned 100% the entire time I was pregnant, and even before I was pregnant, to finish school because I knew that that was going to be best for my daughter. We had such an amazing support system and so many people who helped out with our daughter when we needed it. We were both in sports, and we continued to play sports after our daughter was born. He played football and basketball, and I played volleyball and ran track. There were certain things that I didn't want to miss out on in high school, and sports was definitely one of those things. But one big thing that I did have to give up and miss out on when I was in high school was hanging out with my friends. I very rarely hung out with people outside of school because I didn't really have much time to. Like I said, I had homework and a baby to raise. I worked late nights and got up really early and had school at first thing in the morning at 7 o'clock. I had a weight training class that started at 7, and then I went into my regular school day until noon, which was nice that I had an early out every day, but I still had so much to accomplish before I had to go to work at night. It was definitely not easy. For those of you who are still in high school, I really want to encourage you to stay in school and to participate in all of the things that high school has to offer. You get to hang out with your friends, you get to play sports, maybe even be a foreign exchange student. You get to go to high school dances and prom, and all of those good things that not everybody gets to do if they choose to have a baby in high school. And for those of you that are in high school that have a baby, I encourage you to do whatever you have to do to stay in school and to be able to walk across the stage and receive your diploma. I promise you that it will be one of the greatest accomplishments that you ever make in your life. Not only is it you that you're doing it for, you're doing it for your child as well. It will help you be so much more successful in your future, and maybe going to college, you won't have to worry about getting your GED. You've busted your ass all of these years to be able to walk across that stage and receive your diploma. Whether you're a freshman, whether you're a sophomore, junior, senior, you've still gone to school for how many years? There is no point in wasting all of that time that you've had to spend in school doing homework and taking tests, doing projects. You've had to focus on keeping your grades up and turning your work in on time for how many years? There's no reason to waste all of that time. Whether you have 1 year left, a half of a year left, or even 4 years left, I promise you that you can make it there. For those of you that had a baby in high school and you finished, I am so proud of you. I have been there and I know the struggle. For those of you that had a baby in high school and didn't finish school, I'm sure you're doing great things and doing whatever you can to support your child like all of us. It's not easy, and you're not a quitter for not staying in school. You're amazing for being able to have a child that young. If there are any teen moms out there that are struggling to get by and struggling to finish school or whatever it is, there are people out there who are willing to help you. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help, whether it's from your guidance counselor, your principal, your secretary, your English teacher, whoever it may be. Somebody is always going to be there for you. All of my teachers were very supportive of me being in high school and having a child. They all worked with me if I needed a little extra time on something. They all offered to watch my child if I ever needed it. They even donated clothes and toys and things to me that I needed. There really are kind people out there that are not judging you for having a child at such a young age, that are willing to help you. If you ever need anything at all, just reach out to me. I am here for you. I will do whatever I can to help you, and I am 120% supportive of you being a young mother. I have been there. I know the struggle. I know it's hard, but it is worth it. My child's father and I have been apart for about a year now. We know that we're better off that way. We are so much happier apart, but we co-parent and we make things work for our child. If you guys saw my last video, you know that I have a boyfriend named Bridger. He is amazing. He helps me with my child. He loves her and she loves him so much. They are the best thing to come home to every night when I get off work. I honestly don't know what I would do without the two of them. I'm so blessed to be where I am today, but if it weren't for all the hard work and staying motivated, I wouldn't be where I am today. I want to be able to succeed and give my children the things that they deserve. Brooklyn is an amazing daughter and she deserves nothing but the best. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that my favorite hashtag is ittybitty because she really is my best friend and she's a total mini me. She wants to be just like me. She wants to match every single day with me. We do have a couple pairs of matching shoes and she definitely makes sure we're wearing them if it's nice outside. Brooklyn has been an amazing child, especially for my first. She's so easygoing, so laid back. She is definitely a character. She's very silly and she is definitely one of the smartest kids I've ever met. And I am so thankful to have her in my life, even though I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school when I had her. I honestly don't know what my life would look like today if I didn't have her. I could have been getting into some bad things, especially with what I was doing before I had her. I am just so happy with life and I can't wait to see what the future brings for us and for Brooklyn. I know that it will be nothing but amazing things. If you guys haven't seen my first video, you should definitely go check it out. It is super cute. Brooklyn and I made a surprise visit to Bridger's apartment and he had no clue about it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram right here and add me on Snapchat right here. You'll be able to see all of our little family adventures and of course Brooklyn because she's adorable. Thank you guys for staying tuned in today and I'll see you next time.